I become high in life when I write.
Yeah.
And to see the results of what I write.
Well, that's the part that we were saying. The results are a good thing. But if you're looking back at results, it's a different vibration than looking forward to the new. And that is the tripping point for so many, is what we are saying to you. As you enjoy the now, as you are interpreting it, rather than looking back at what you interpreted under different conditions, your pleasure in writing will increase dramatically as you let your emphasis be upon the moment in time, the function, the experience, the emotion, the flow, the thrill, the clarity, the focus, the thrill, the clarity of the flow. Because when you focus back on it, it's not as powerful a moment. It's like if you were sculpting clay, hands in the clay, that's the creative process. Once a statue is standing there, make another one. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, as I'm creating, getting this work produced, I'm led, literally, things drop in my lap.
We like to say, perfect words, but we like to say, as what I've already put into my vortex, which is a vibrational reality, and as all the cooperative components have been assembled by law of attraction, and as I hold myself in this steady, good-feeling place of expectation, I am the realizer of, or the translator, but the realizer, the allower. That's what you're doing. It feels like it's dropping in your lap.
Yes.
But it only drops there when your personal state of being and your vibrational frequency is equivalent to what you have already created. In other words, it's important to understand. Step one, you've heard us say this, but it really applies here. Step one is life causes you to create. Life causes you, the details, the variety, the contrast of life causes you to create. But you create a vibrational reality that isn't yet tangible. It isn't even thinkable. It isn't even, the components of it are so subtle that it takes a finely tuned frequency in order to realize the combining and the subtlety of all that has been created. And that receiving point, that conception point, that realizing point, that's that point that the idea flows, and it feels to you like it just dropped into your lap. Well, it's been part of your experience for a long time. You dropped it piece by piece in our lap a long time ago, and we've been sitting here with it, enjoying it, loving it, knowing the perfection of it, and holding the frequency of it steady until you can accomplish a frequency that is same, and then you become the realizer of the broader version, not broader than what you created, but all inclusive of what you have created. The manifestation point, the point of manifestation, the realization point.
But my question comes to when those things fall in my lap, as I say, they then fall apart.
Well, only because you were not steady enough in the vibration to maintain the realization of them. You see, how the intangible becomes tangible is all about focus. And focus is about attention. A thought, you could think a thought for a split second, and it wouldn't have any meaningful impact in your experience. But as you continue to focus there until it's familiar, until it's what humans call a belief is a really substantial vibration that will prove itself to you with a reality. People think that they believe because they're observing reality, and sometimes that's the case. But it's so much better when you observe the reality that you have believed before you saw it, you see. And so if it's falling apart, it only means it's still fragile. Isn't the right word at all. It's just underdeveloped in you. You developed it fully, otherwise you couldn't have even caught a glimpse of it. But your relationship to it is not fully developed because you have ideas that contradict it. Like I wonder about it, or I'm not sure about that, or I want more money, but about it. You see what we're getting at? So let's talk about that just for a moment, because it's really what you're feeling. A thought, something that you focus upon. Something that you focus upon. Now let's start again, given what we've said here to you today, which was leading edge, by the way. We've not been talking like this before. Aren't you pleased that you're co-creating in this experience? So here this vibration is that you are in the vicinity of. And why? Because you're not doing something that keeps you out of the vicinity of it. How's that? You're not doing that thing you do that's preventing you from it. You're not ragging on somebody. You're not negative about something. You're not feeling sorry for yourself. You're not frustrated about something. In other words, you're in this place where you're not emitting a vibration that contradicts it. It usually comes when you first wake up, or after you've been meditating, or after something wonderful has happened. In other words, it usually it comes in a variety of ways. So, but for whatever reason, you were in a place of non-resistance, and so you realized it. For a moment, you caught a glimpse of it. Maybe it was even a stream of thought that was really satisfying for a little while. But you couldn't maintain it because you haven't habitually hung around in that frequency. You've been sifting through the contrast. You see, when you know what you don't want and you know what you do want, and you know what you don't want and you know what you do want, and you know what you don't want 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 and you know what you do want, you're launching the what you do wants. But the question is, where is your habit of vibration? What are you usually focused upon? Because every subject is wanted and unwanted all at the same time. The question is, where's your vibration practiced on this subject of prosperity, or on this subject of receiving inspiration, or on this subject of anything? Because you might be thinking that you're thinking about what you want, when really you're thinking about the absence of what you want. And that's what happens with so many writers. They are so aware of what's not flowing. They catch glimpses of what is flowing. Oh, isn't that a sweet moment when it flows and you know it and you're tuned in and you feel it because the whole of you is focused right here in this moment. But then something causes you to get hold of another part of your frequency, and then it's not quite as clear. But don't worry about it. Say to yourself, it's not my job to maintain that frequency all the time. I've launched the rocket. I've tapped in on it. I will find it again. If I could find it in the beginning, I will find it again. It's in the process of evolving. And even more important, this is the part we want you to hear, even more important, I am learning to maintain a steady frequency of feeling good. So it's not a frequency of thinking about the subject you're writing about. It's not a frequency of becoming an expert and trying to remember what that was about. It's the frequency of feeling good. If you can let, oh, here it is. So did you follow us, that you know what you don't want and you launch the rockets, and you get it, that there's a vibrational reality that exists, that is everything that you want? You don't have to pinpoint the details of everything that you want and hold those steady in your mind. That's not what we mean when we say maintain the frequency. You just have to not offer an opposing vibration. So in simple terms, you just got to find something to feel happy about, something to feel glad about, anything. It could be so far off the subject of your book that it's not even in the same realm at all, but your happiness will put you in a frequency that you will click right back in to that leading edge place that you are enjoying so much.
I understand that.
We know you do, because it happens all the time. You can get back to it all the time. Right. So what is writer's block? Writer's block is,
I can't say that I have writer's block, though.
We don't say that either, but we want to use this as an example. Okay. What writer's block is a vibration that in this moment is disallowing what you've already written. You're not allowing yourself to translate what life has caused you to already know. Almost everybody has a version of writer's block. We could call it desirer's block. We could call it preventing myself from the full realization in this moment of everything that I am.
The things that fall apart are getting the writing to the next level. The meeting of the people who are supposed to take it and get it produced.
Also, what you're saying to us is, when it's just you and you,
I'm fine.
so your expectation of your ability to receive has been practiced so that that part of it is easier. When you focus upon what they're not doing, that's what you're creating. That's the part of the scenario that you are realizing, because you are the perceiver of this outcome. You let it come out. Outcome. You let it come out, and it comes out as you perceive it. So if you perceive it, even though it feels like this is just an accurate, truthful description of what's happening, and we say that's not creating reality, that's regurgitating reality, that's observing reality, that's extending reality. If you want to create a different reality, you got to tell a different story. You got to feel it different than it is. Well, Abraham, how am I supposed to feel something different than it is? Well, you got to stop looking at what is, for one thing, because every time you look at it, you make that a bigger part of your vibrational practice, you see.
Mm-hmm. To raise your vibration
is to be happy.
Understood. What I feel, and this ultimately comes down to the boiling of my question.
Yeah.
To raise my vibration.
To allow my vibration to raise.
To allow
I don't
my
have to
vibration.
raise. I don't have to raise it. It wants up,
Mm-hmm.
and the only reason it's not going up is because I'm holding it down. So to stop holding my vibration down, that's a better way to phrase that. To stop holding my vibration down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear the difference? Big distinction. You don't have to raise it up. It's naturally going up.
Got it.
Well, we just want to make sure.
Okay.
So contradictory thought is you introducing resistance into this path that really could be resistance free. The path of least resistance, it's just going with the flow. It's just letting yourself receive what you've already created. So the path of least resistance feels like ease, and it feels like fun, mm-hmm. and it feels like satisfaction, and mm-hmm. it feels like clarity. Mm-hmm. And so you can tell when you're on the path, mm-hmm. and you can tell when you're not. You can tell when you're hindering it. Mm-hmm. It also is helpful to realize that the path is right at your feet all the time. It's not like you got to look for it and find it and go get on it somehow. So our message is, don't try to make anything happen, because in many cases you're trying to buck a current that you've created and you just can't get across it. You are looking for the path of least resistance, but it's an emotional path. It's a feeling path. Just say that to yourself just for a little while. Oh, eventually it will be a tangible path. It will be a pick up the telephone. It will be rendezvous mm-hmm. with someone. It will be a tangible path. Mm-hmm. And that's bright and clear. We see it clearly. But you've got to find the emotional path first. There are people who would say to you, you shouldn't just sit around and be lazy and wait for things to happen. We say, yes, you should. Unless you want to do it really the hard way. But don't just sit around and be lazy in the sense of let your mind wander all over the place. Mm-hmm. Focus yourself on good feeling thoughts. But here's the thing. You don't have to find good feeling thoughts about the things that you've been feeling resistant about, because usually when you reach for good feeling thoughts about the things you've been feeling resistance about, mm-hmm. you will find bad feeling thoughts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So find good feeling thoughts wherever you can find them. That's the key, because you're not in this phase of allowing. You're not still trying to create it. You're not trying to make it happen. You're not still trying to choose it. You're not still trying to decide it. It's done. It's a done deal. Mm-hmm. It's all hatched and it's been incubating. The gestation period is underway. It's ready to reveal itself to you. It is revealing itself to you. You're just not realizing the revelation because you're trying too hard to be too action oriented in the receiving of it. That was good, and that was for all of you, no matter what it is you're working on.